Welcome into One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112. I'm Reed Spencer, joined by my co-host Logan Mosier. As always, it is a great day to be an NBA fan because obviously that's our leading story. We're going to do a quick mock draft of the first 5 picks. The NFL draft, of course, is tomorrow night, so we'll be going over everything in round 1 on our final show on Friday. But this first couple segments will be dedicated to the NBA and then some Oklahoma State stuff at the end. Let's start with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is the leading story.
Yeah.
It's Dame time. What a bad shot that was. Paul George, little FYI, if it goes in, it's not a bad shot. Even more so if it goes in and sends you home. Doesn't work that way. How's it a bad shot when it goes in?
It is a bad shot for.
In theory.
How many guys are in the NBA? Like, roughly like over 100, I think. It's a bad shot for about 99% of those guys. It's not a bad shot if you're obviously Damian Lillard. If you're Steph Curry, that's it. But those two guys, they can make that shot. Damian Lillard has kind of gone under the radar as one of those guys that has the Steph Curry kind of range. And I'm surprised he only got 50 last night.
Well, he was stuck on 42 for much of the third quarter. When the Oklahoma City Thunder are down by 9. The crowd's going wild, and the series is over. Then they go on a 30-6 run.
Yeah.
And then the Pacers answer it with the 27-6 run. And then they answer it with owning the final 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They were trading buckets, and as soon as Russell Westbrook missed that with 15 seconds left, Damian Lillard dribbled right to the spot he knew he was going to take the shot. And right in Paul George's face, shot a bad shot, and won the series. He drops 50. Russell Westbrook was better last night than in previous games in the series. 29 points, Paul George 36, but Westbrook 11 of 31 from the floor, 4 of 11 from 3, and he got hot late in the game, but it just wasn't enough. Now we've kind of known this is going to happen all the time. And Thunder fans today, obviously being in north central Oklahoma, come to the defense of their team. I don't understand. I understand it. I don't understand how the media is necessarily treated in Oklahoma City because I don't know if Russell Westbrook's afraid of Barry Trammell. I know he says he doesn't like him. Answer the questions.
Yeah.
Just answer the questions. And Paul George, that's a bad shot. The arrogance of this team is mind-numbing because you've watched The Office, right?
Yeah.
You remember when Ryan got fired from corporate and he comes back and Jim's kind of rude to him and he goes and he writes in his book, that's his list.
Yeah.
Game 3, when Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook were taunting and were being arrogant and were going after Damian Lillard after the game was pretty much over.
And Paul George does that dunk at the end.
Writing on his list. And you know what was going through his mind while he was staring at Paul George last night? Have a nice flight home. Boom.
Yeah.
Don't do that stuff in Game 3 when the series goes the way it does. Don't act the way you do in your press conferences when the series goes the way it does. I'm just tired of this fan base, and I'm tired of the team.
Yeah, I do want to say Paul George played, pretty well for how he's played the rest of this series. He's obviously hurt, Reed. At this point, I'm glad they got eliminated because Paul George wasn't even close to 100%. He can get healthy, get right for next year. They weren't going to make a run deep into the playoffs. They were probably, if they somehow pulled out this series against the Blazers, they were probably going to lose in the second round anyway. They were never in the hunt to win a championship. And, I want to give credit to Portland because after Nurkic went down, everyone under the sun was like, well, they're done. They're dead in the water.
Right, and not that many people believed them with Nurkic because of the history, because of last year, because of what they had accomplished so far.
Right.
No one believed in them. And then that injury happens, and you're right, including myself,
and me.
It's over. It's over until they get matched up with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
It's no longer over.
Well, even going into the playoffs, Reed, the Thunder were one of those teams where people were looking at them and saying, they're a dangerous 6 seed. They're not.
Yeah, but before the All-Star break, they were a contender.
Right.
There was a feeling that they could make a run at the finals, that they were the one team that could compete in the West with Golden State, and then the All-Star break happened.
Yeah. Paul George got hurt at some point during that stretch. Russell Westbrook didn't really have a great season. whatsoever as far as shooting the ball and efficiency. And Steven Adams proved to be he was really disappointing in this like last stretch of the season, in the regular season and then the playoffs.
Funny you mentioned that. Who was on the bench on that 30-6 run? Steven Adams.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he is a fan favorite. He's great with the media. He's kind of the opposite of Westbrook. He's more playful, funny. We'll be glad to answer questions, but I just don't know if he has a skill set that translates to being one of the best players on a contending team in the NBA today. So I don't know if they can trade him. I'm sure they can because he does have a pretty good skill set and he's good for certain situations. But I don't know what they're going to do moving forward. It's going to be a very interesting offseason. I don't think there's going to be a ton of huge changes, but I think Billy Donovan's probably not going to be the head coach. I imagine everyone on the roster except maybe like Nerlens Noel, Raymond Felton, those guys that are free agents, they might not be back, but I would imagine Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams are all going to be back. Jeremy Grant will obviously be back. Dennis Schroeder's back, but they're at a fork in the road. We talked about it before the show started. They're not a contending team. They're not one of the best teams right now. They're also not one of the worst teams. They're not going to be picking number 1, number 2. They're not going to be in the hunt for guys like Zion Williamson for a long time. But as the way this team's currently constructed, they're not going to be playing in June or even in May for a really long time either. So, they're at a very interesting point. I think this offseason is very important for the Thunder's future.
So the good news is you don't have to technically fire Billy Donovan. You just don't re-sign him, which is essentially the same as being fired.
Yeah.
But you can go about it a little bit different way. You talk about the replacements. They need an athletic big man that can play in today's NBA, and they need another shooter. They
need at least one shooter. When Paul George got hurt, they had no shooters. None.
Well, I mean, and as you mentioned, Paul George played well last night, 36 points, but he's one-upped by Damian Lillard. And Russell Westbrook wasn't great until the end of the third quarter in that 30-6 run, and really then it just wasn't enough. But on the road since Kevin Durant left now, Logan, 0-9 on the road.
Even before Kevin Durant left, they lose that Game 7 on the road in Golden State, and then, they lose all their games in Houston that year after Durant left. Then they lose the 2 games in Utah, and now they lose all 3 games in Portland. I don't know if you know this, Reed, but Kevin Durant is pretty important if you want to play winning basketball. If you want to win games in the playoffs, having Kevin Durant helps more than not having him. So they have to figure out. I think they've done as best they can as replacing him with Paul George, but you can't replace a guy like Kevin Durant. He's one of the all-time greats. He's the best pure scorer.
Yeah, he's the best player in the NBA right now. But the thing is, the overreactions can be crazy at times. I don't think that people need to blow up this team. That was ridiculous. You do have to make adjustments. But we talked about it before the show started. There's nothing that you can do that will solve their problems right now. There's too much to be done to fix this. But if you truly believe that blowing up a team and not making the playoffs or being worse for the benefit of the long run is ludicrous. It's not true. Thunder fans would rather see this series and have this season all day than not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
All day long.
I agree, and I think that kind of speaks to the success that the team's had in the past. They've made a lot of deep runs in the playoffs, been to a finals. Fans are kind of spoiled, they expect that all the time, and if not, just let it go. I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten what it's like when your team doesn't make the playoffs. It's not as fun, especially, if they're not good in the regular season. That's a lot less fun than, losing in the first round, even if it is a loss like this. So I'm with you. I think they've lost sight of, how good this team or this organization has actually been throughout the past couple of years.
I mean, you can't be lost on the fact that outside of their first year in Oklahoma City, it's never been really bad. In a small market, they've transcended what's possible in the NBA.
Right.
They sell out almost every game. Well, they've sold out every game. They don't sell out every game. Sell out means different to them than it does you and I.
Yeah.
But they have a full arena every night. They have a very passionate fan base for a team that's been there a decade, and they've accomplished a lot. So you can't be truly disappointed in what the Oklahoma City Thunder have accomplished, but it's okay for fans to be, critical of their team. It's okay for the media to press this team a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the real world. It's okay to not be okay with your team.
Right.
It's okay. And that's what I think gets lost on this franchise a lot. And Russell Westbrook does get criticized a lot on Twitter, but there's a lot of defenders on, Thunder Twitter.
Yeah.
But they probably couldn't get a more loyal guy to be in Oklahoma City, and you got to be.
Yeah.
They would never trade Russell Westbrook, and that would be the dumbest thing they could ever do. Same for Paul George.
Yeah.
But they are in a bad spot as far as manipulating their roster to have a lot of success in the spring, early summer, and now they've got a coaching change that they probably have to make. When does that come down? Because the season's over.
Yeah.
When is Billy Donovan? And I think you're pretty sure he's gone.
Yeah.
When does that announcement come down?
It probably is after the the exit press conferences that they'll all have. They'll probably have it in a couple of days. I'm sure his services will not be retained. It'll be shortly after Sam Presti gives his words to the press and everyone has their chance to have their final press conference before everyone goes their separate ways for the off season. I think that's the smartest way to approach it, at least because that way you have time. That way you're not in June, July, that time frame looking for a coach. Because at that point, most of the good candidates are going to be scooped up. And I don't even know how many
good candidate?
Right, I don't know how many good candidates there are even out there right now.
Jason Kidd.
Oh, woohoo.
No, that's only the case if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. But anyways, Damian Lillard, he owned this series.
He did.
He got the last word in his mind.
Yeah.
He waves bye to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He earned it.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because specifically because of how they acted in Game 3.
Yeah.
They asked for this. And I think Damian Lillard handles it, relatively well most of the time. But the Trailblazers defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 games with a 118-115 game last night, and bad shot from Damian Lillard that goes in.
Yeah.
So,
just a bad shot.
And that's when you get your sound bites right there. Is the press conferences when the emotions are running high. I get what Paul George was saying.
Yeah.
But when he makes it, especially in your face, you can't say that. Damian Lillard, you said respond on Twitter. What? LOL.
LOL.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have an interesting series ahead of them.
Yeah. Reed, they could go from getting swept last season to the Western Conference Finals.
You think they win this next series?
I think they have a really good chance. Denver has struggled with San Antonio, and you can give San Antonio all the credit, but it's not like Tim Duncan's out there.
Right.
It's not like Tony Parker's out there. Not even Kawhi Leonard's out there for San Antonio. I think Denver's really young. I think if they were matched up, I think Denver would probably be the favorite, but I would probably pick Portland. Just if Damian Lillard plays this way, I would pick Portland.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we spent the majority of this first segment on the Oklahoma City Thunder, but we can move really quickly to that Nuggets Spurs, and it can transition into the next segment as well. I was convinced, they needed Jamal Murray to not be down 3-0 essentially.
Yeah.
And now the Denver Nuggets have a 3-2 lead in the series with a 108-90 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Dominated the Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's going on with the San Antonio Spurs?
I think the talent gap is kind of catching up a little bit. Jokic is far and away the best player in this series. What did he have last night? 16 and 11 and 8, almost another triple-double. Jamal Murray, 23 points. If you can get Jamal Murray into the 20s and he's not taking a ton of bad shots.
Bad shots that go in.
No, Denver's a pretty tough team to beat. And you look on the San Antonio side, Derek White has not played very well since he dropped, 36 in Game 2 or Game 3. No Spur got 20 points last night. That's an issue. DeMar DeRozan, 6 for 15. He needs to be a bit more productive if they want to win. LaMarcus Aldridge actually didn't play too bad. Double-double for him, but, I think it goes back to San Antonio. So I would say this goes to 7, but I would probably pick Denver at this point. Usually the team that wins Game 5 wins the series. Just because, it's hard to win 2 in a row, especially a Game 7 on a road or in a different arena.
Well, you moved to the other two games last night in the NBA, two blowout wins. The 76ers and Toronto both lose game one, but are dominant in the next four in the gentleman's sweep. The 76ers won 122-100 last night. Embiid, 23 points, 13 rebounds. D'Angelo Russell, a great bounce back year, proved a lot of things, but it wasn't enough in the playoffs.
3 for 16 last night, Reed. D'Angelo Russell is so overhyped, it's not even funny. Karis LeVert is their best player.
He's overhyped because of how he was traded.
Yeah.
And where the Nets were. So I think some of the hype is probably unwarranted.
He's not even their best player.
He will be.
Karis LeVert is back to being their best player. Well, forever.
You got to be happy where you are if you're the Brooklyn Nets based on where you were.
Yeah, for sure. Especially
not too long ago. And they didn't have a draft pick for like half a decade.
They did this without any of their draft picks, but Reed, I didn't realize this until just now. One of the Nets starters had double digits. Karis LeVert had 18. Yeah, the rest of them combined for
8 and 9, right?
8, 9, and 0. Jared Dudley gave a goose egg, which isn't very surprising, but
no. Again, talking trash for him kind of backfired. So the 76ers get the gentleman's sweep over Brooklyn. Toronto does much of the same. 115-96 win over the Magic. DJ Augustine in game one had a bad shot that went in. And
not quite the same.
Ever since then, it has been Toronto all the way.
Yeah.
So Toronto gets out of the first round, 27 points from Kawhi Leonard. We're going to take a quick break and talk about other things going on in the NBA, including the 2 games tonight and some allegations against the new head coach in the NBA. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit Facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome back into One-on-One on Assembly Channel 112. Getting into some more NBA news. Jam-packed series last night. 4 games last night, 2 tonight. Looks like they're both probably going to be over tonight.
Yeah.
The Rockets hosting the Jazz. James Harden did not have a great trip out to Utah. Went 0-15 in Game 3. They still find a way to win, but they lose Game 4, 107-91. And now the Golden State Warriors look to close out the Clippers. Had they not blown a 31-point lead,
Yeah, they would have swept.
this would already be over. But let's start in Houston. Do the Jazz have any hope tonight?
Yeah, I mean, technically, they do. I wouldn't give them a huge chance to win tonight. I think Golden State is rooting for the Jazz to win tonight. I think they want them to make Houston play as many games as they can. But, Reed, they have just been dominated, except for that last what game was that? Was that the last game that they just won?
Right, Game 4,
Yeah. So, but they're back in Utah, or they're back in Houston. Sorry, there's no way.
No way they win the series. Chance
Oh,
they
yeah.
win tonight,
No.
but no way they win the series.
There's a slim chance they win tonight. There's absolutely no way they win the series. Donovan Mitchell, he's going to be I think he's going to be a really, really good player one day, and he's really good right now. But I just don't know I don't know how well his game travels right now, especially to Houston. He's kind of had a up and down kind of second season. He was great in that Game 4 win, but he has not been himself in this series. He certainly wasn't playing like he was in the series they played against the Thunder last year, where he was just the best player on the floor. But, I give him a puncher's chance tonight, but
Series is over.
yeah, the series is over.
Second year they lose to Houston. They didn't have a lot of roster turnover last year. They have a lot of talent. Donovan Mitchell, I think Ricky Rubio probably needs to go.
Yeah, he's a...
But Joe Ingles, and I think Quinn Snyder's an underrated coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
But Utah is in much of the same, basically the same thing as Oklahoma City.
Yeah. At least they have a bit more flexibility. They have a
Right.
lot more cap room.
And a better coach right now, so they don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that.
And their best player is a young guy.
Right. So they're much in the same situation. Where do you go to actually win in the West right now? Like, you can make the playoffs and you can accomplish a lot, but what can you do to really flip this thing on its head and
Yeah.
say, hey, we were good, we're about to be great?
You look at kind of like what the Bucks did. We'll talk about Jason Kidd here in a minute. With Jason Kidd, they were a mediocre team, but they bring in Mike Budenholzer. He reinvents the offense, puts a bunch of shooters around Giannis. Now they're the best team in the East. You have to find. I know a coach obviously can't go out there and win a game for you, but the system around players, that matters a lot. The game plan that coaches come up with matter a lot. You have to have one of the best coaches possible for your guys. That's hard to find. I think they have that in Utah. I think Quinn Snyder is a really, really good coach. I think they just need more help. I think they need another scorer besides Donovan Mitchell. They need another guy like a Gordon Hayward that can go and get his own shot. Because like you said, Ricky Rubio he's a nice guy. He's a nice, passing point guard, but he's not much of a threat on the offensive side. Joe Ingles, great catch and shoot guy, not a guy you want dribbling the basketball trying to make his own shot. Jay Crowder, good for defense, can hit a three. Rudy Gobert is offensively challenged. He's a great defensive player, offensively challenged. They need to go get a guy that can take some of the load off of Donovan Mitchell. That's what Houston did with James Harden. They went and got Chris Paul, so James Harden doesn't have to, do everything by himself. Golden State has Durant, Curry, Thompson, any of those guys. For a while, they had Boogie, a bunch of guys that can get their own shot. Even OKC, Russell Westbrook and Paul George, they can each get their own shot. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, all the good teams have at least 2 good scorers. Mm-hmm. That's what Utah needs. Who that is, I have no idea. They'll have to either look in free agency for someone or, get lucky again like when they drafted Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, and ultimately the factor is going to be if Golden State blows this thing up.
Yeah.
Or if the players there decide to leave. I mean, if that nucleus isn't there, that'll change a lot of things in the Western Conference, but that is yet to be seen. So the Rockets probably going to get a win tonight. If not, they're still going to ultimately win the series. Yeah. You go out to the Bay Area, back in Golden State, back in San Francisco, or Oakland now.
They don't have home court this time.
Next year. This series should have already been over. This
Yeah.
should have already been over. They blew a 31-point lead They were dominant in Game 3. Haven't been dominant really. They've just been getting wins. But Steph Curry in the last game, Durant and Thompson combined for 65 points. Steph Curry 12, and they still get the job done.
Yeah.
I think this series is over tonight. Much of the same of Houston and Utah.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Golden State just has so many guys. Kevin Durant and Curry could probably have a bad game, and if Klay Thompson just has one of those Klay Thompson games, they're good to go.
And even then, Draymond can do something ridiculous and still win.
Yeah. So, you got to commend the Clippers. They did win a game. They were supposed to get swept. They were not even close to the Warriors talent-wise. They come through with one of the best comebacks in playoff history, in NBA history in general, I guess, actually, 31 points. So, I don't think it really affected the Warriors. It didn't seem to phase them at all. I think they came out in the next game and they took care of business pretty well. So I don't think that's going to carry over. But yeah, I think this series ends tonight. We'll be looking at a Houston Golden State series. I think that'll start Sunday.
We're thinking about it are the Golden State Warriors. They said they're focused on the Clippers.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that the Rockets aren't in the back of their mind.
I don't know if they're thinking about them a ton. I'm sure they're like, that's probably who we're going to play. But I don't think they're planning for them yet. Like, they're not making a game plan yet. You know what I mean? I'm sure they know that's who's probably going to be next. But I think they really are. They're focused on the Clippers. Because they've been through this thing time and time again. They're not eager to look to see who's next. They know what they need to do.
Right.
They know how to win. They don't have to look forward and be like, well, got to get ready for these guys while you're still, trying to take care of the guys you're playing right now. So I think they're in their mind, but they're not fully occupying their mind. I think they're a fraction. Like they have a little piece of their mind.
Well, it'll certainly be interesting to see with the Golden State Warriors tonight. Do you think it's a blowout? You think it's a close game?
I think this is a blowout. It's back in Oracle, right?
Yeah, they're back in Oakland.
Warriors by 31.
Oh, by 31.
Got to be up by 31.
They do it on purpose. I think it's a rout as well. Doc Clippers and Doc
Clipper.
That should be a name. If someone hasn't put that on a shirt yet, they should. Doc Rivers and the Clippers are probably going home tonight. So we'll stay in the state of California, really. He was an assistant coach for the Warriors, apparently, when this happened. Was head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers for 3 seasons. Now the head man in Sacramento. Luke Walton is accused of sexual assault. What do the Kings do? Because I don't want to go too much into the allegations, frankly, because I read the article. I listened to her press conference. But Kelly Tennant, as I said, the former host of Spectrum Sportsnet in L.A., she had a working relationship with Luke Walton. She had written a book that he wrote the foreword to, so she went to his hotel, and that is apparently when it happened. And one more at an event that they were at, he had said something to her. She says she's not going to the police, and I don't want to go too much. I mean, I don't want to say anything about the allegations necessarily because I don't know. I don't think anyone knows between her and Luke Walton. They're the only 2 people to know. But what I want to focus on is how the Sacramento Kings handle this.
Yeah.
If there is no criminal charges pressed, what do they do?
I think, they obviously need to let the legal process play out, however it works out. But I think they should also, do their own little private investigation just to see, because that's a dangerous game you're playing if you're just going to dismiss it altogether and keep this guy on. And, I don't think he should lose his job if there's no
Right. I mean, you should do your due diligence.
Right.
Simply because a press conference, you shouldn't fire somebody.
Right.
But you need to do your work in figuring out what happened.
And I think they got to do it kind of quick because I mentioned when the Thunder get rid of Billy Donovan, they got to hurry and get one of the best candidates available. So, if I'm them, I do my own investigation. I see how it plays out and, make a decision before it's too late and, there's no other candidates for the position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes forward. If something happened, if what she said happened, Luke Walton needs to be suspended or something needs to happen. But the investigation will be going forward. Obviously, the Kings and the NBA are looking into it. But that is a storyline because he did just get the job going from the Lakers to the Kings. So we're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about a big trade that happened in the National Football League and do a little. We're going to mock the first 5 picks. We're not going to do all 7 rounds.
I thought we were doing a 7-round reverse order draft. We start at Mr. Irrelevant and go all the way to 1.
Start at Mr. Irrelevant. Where would you even start? Like,
Me?
Does Mel Kiper even have a binder that big? Well, that guy does,
Yeah.
but man, the guys that do the 7-round draft picks. I was talking to somebody yesterday about
That's a lot of work.
one of the Chiefs websites. They were like selling like a $9 draft guide, and they've been spending months on who they're taking at 29. All for the Chiefs simply to just go trade. No,
Yeah.
it's no longer there. So we're gonna get into that trade next and talk about, as I said, our mock draft right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into one-on-one. You see the Broncos scoring a rare touchdown
That was
last
awesome.
season right there against the Seattle Seahawks. Frank
Good old
Clark,
Philip Lindsay.
yeah, and then he got hurt. But anyway, and now you got Joe Flacco to throw the football, so you can rest easy at night.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the Chiefs make a massive trade yesterday. They get defensive end Frank Clark from the Seattle Seahawks. In the trade, obviously we'll start with, I guess, the fact that the Chiefs signed into a 5-year, $105.5 million deal, including $63.5 million guaranteed team option after 3 years. The Chiefs give up their 29th overall pick in this year's draft, exchanging their third-round picks, and give their lower second round, who they received from the San Francisco 49ers, next year to the Seattle Seahawks. Frank Clark, 36 sacks in 4 seasons. He's getting a sack about every 170 snaps. He's a really good young player. He does come with some baggage, but
Yeah.
is this a good move for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think so. I think, they got rid of Dee Ford. They need to beef up that defense because, that's what held the Chiefs back last year, Reed. You know that probably more than anyone in this entire building.
Yeah.
But I think they're making good moves. They're doing the right thing. They're building around Patrick Mahomes while he's still on a rookie deal, and they can still put, a lot of talent around him. And, if he doesn't have to worry about the other team either scoring or getting the ball on his own 20, 15, that makes his job a lot easier.
Right.
So
And,
I really like the move.
and the good news for me is the reason my team lost wasn't because of their best player. So I do have that going for me. So Patrick Mahomes obviously needs a little help from the defense, but they move from that 3-4 to the 4-3.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a little bit more aggressive under Steve Spagnuolo. And they've made the additions. They release Eric Berry. They trade Dee Ford, and they release Justin Houston, who's now in Indianapolis. Eric Berry hasn't found a spot yet, and Dee Ford, got that big-time contract in San Francisco. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but I think, as Chris Jones tweeted, the defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, they got a lot of dogs on that defense. Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu, they added Rashad Breeland, and as you already had Chris Jones there.
Yeah.
I think they got a lot better this offseason.
Yeah.
I think they know where their weakness is. Everyone else did. And I don't know that Brett Veach is done. I don't know if he packages up those second-round picks to move back up into the first round this year. That they probably need a little bit more capital than that. But I like this trade for Frank Clark. There was, for 9 minutes yesterday, Patrick Peterson was a Kansas City Chief, and that did not last long. That would have been great. Added a Hall of Fame safety. Yeah. But this is the trade that was actually possible. I think it works well for the Seattle Seahawks, and it works well for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to be a really good player in Kansas City.
Yeah. How do you feel about the defense as a whole? Are they going to be middle of the pack, good, kind of bad?
The good news is they can be average.
They can't be worse.
They can be average and probably win a championship.
Yeah.
Because they were terrible last year, and they were
close.
A coin flip away from going to the Super Bowl. They're going to be a lot better because they're going to be a lot more aggressive. And they're going to give up some big plays. You saw with Jim Knowles, and it started to pan out at the end of the season here in Stillwater. The aggressiveness will burn you sometimes.
Yeah.
But the risk does not outweigh the reward in this defense. I think Steve Spagnuolo has only had a top 10 defense one time in his career, but that was a different league, and this is a different – obviously it's 2019 now, and he's got probably better players than he's had in a long time in his defense. I think they're going to be able to get the job done next year.
For your sake, I hope so, Reed.
Oh, well.
I want you to have a parade. I want everything. I want you to not be able to complain. What's your rule? 5 years?
5 years. No, Logan, I'll be honest with you. If the Kansas City Chiefs win a Super Bowl, I won't complain for 10. I will be so happy. I won't even watch football anymore.
You'll just be done? You'll retire?
My life will have been made as a Kansas City fan. The Royals won me a World Series, but to be honest, that does not mean a tenth of what a Super Bowl would mean. But you, Anissa, behind the camera, she's an Eagles fan. You're a Broncos fan. You can't complain.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
My time's about up.
Your time's about it. Well, when you factor in the 90s, you really, the rules. It's like Patriots fan. You to never, ever, ever, ever complain.
Boston in general.
The city of Boston. You got the Bruins, the Red Sox.
The Celtics.
The Patriots, the Celtics. Nauseating.
It's honestly impressive. You know what's crazy? It's not going to happen, but there's a chance Boston could win every Big Four championship.
That would be remarkable.
If the Celtics and the Bruins can somehow do it.
Then you ever see those signs when the Patriots and Red Sox win? It's like a 5-year-old kid's like, "This is my 14th championship parade." Life is not that fair. There is something going on in this world, and
so you're telling me you don't want the Boston sweep?
No, I don't want the Boston sweep. Well, I mean, I guess
it would be cool.
For Colicchio's sake, I don't want the Red Sox to win another world championship. And I'm kind of tired of seeing the Celtics, although they haven't won. They've only won finals in our lives, really. But I don't really care to see the Celtics win, and I couldn't care less about the Boston Bruins. So they can take that punch bowl and skate around all they want. I couldn't care less about that. But anyways, that would be very remarkable. I have to stop my hockey slander. I have to stop it. We're trying to be.
You're a new hockey fan, Reed.
I'm a new hockey fan. I have to. It just comes natural. But there's a lot of big hockey news, or say on the NFL. There's a lot of big hockey news that Barry Guest is going to be on Friday. Talking about this Vegas series. His Caps may or may not be done by the time he's on the show. So a lot of interesting hockey stuff. But ultimately, Frank Clark is a good move for the Kansas City Chiefs. They gave up a lot for him. They're paying him a lot. But ultimately, if it's enough to push you over the hump to get a championship, nobody will care about this in the end.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Where do they go in the draft, though?
Well, they don't go anywhere till the second round.
Yeah. Do they try? You mentioned it. Get back in the first round.
I don't
go
think,
for another guy that's proven himself. What do they do?
They probably will make some phone calls, but I don't think anyone's going to take two twos
for a one.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting. Speaking of the draft is tomorrow. If I can quit dropping my microphone everywhere. The NFL draft is tomorrow, and there's been a lot of speculation around who the Cardinals are going to take at number 1 overall. Let's give our top 5 because we can't do 32. So you go first. and then I will give you my top 5.
All right. Number 1, not surprising in the least, Kyler Murray.
Oh,
Cliff Kingsbury has done nothing but talk about this kid since he was still at Texas Tech.
bold, Logan.
I know.
Bold.
Absolutely.
Very proud of you. You just going for it. That's
Thank
bold.
you. I appreciate it. That's how I like to be alone on the edge, Reed. I like to be, by myself. This is my original take. No one else has ever thought of this. Yeah, I think Kyler Murray's going number 1. There's just been too much noise for that not to be the case. Number 2, Nick Bosa. Supposed to be the number 1 overall pick, but I think the Cardinals like Kyler Murray too much. I think Nick Bosa, he didn't play the majority of the season basically at Ohio State, but he was good enough last year to be one of the top picks. He's absolutely the number 2 pick. And then Quinnen Williams. Jason's Jets need some help on the defense. I think they're going to take Quinnen Williams out of Alabama. And then Josh Allen is going to get drafted again, Reed. But this time out of Kentucky, and he's a linebacker. He's not the quarterback.
To Oakland at number 4. Okay.
Yeah, I have him going number 4 to Oakland. And then at 5, I was kind of thinking maybe Tampa Bay wants to move on from Justice Winston. Maybe they take Dwayne Haskins, something like that. But from everything I've read, I'm pretty sure they're going to stick with him as long as his contract, on his current contract. So I think they're going to take Devin White out of LSU.
That'll be interesting. He's a really good player. His
Yeah.
speed in the SEC was remarkable.
Yeah.
He was great for the Tigers. But it'll be interesting to see where he falls. I don't have him in my top 5. I, like you, Kyler Murray number 1 overall. There was a lot of reports yesterday that they're planning on taking Kyler Murray. And where do you think they're trading Josh Rosen with these reports?
New England.
They're not. Apparently.
They're going to keep. They're going to
gonna
have them
keep
battle it
both
out.
guys on the roster.
Okay.
That seems like an absolute, utter disaster in the making.
Yeah. Well,
Why?
what else do you expect from the Cardinals?
No, the dysfunction really is uncanny at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, they hired Cliff Kingsbury. That should tell you all you need to know, at least in my mind. I
Right.
don't think some guys are better in the NFL than they are in college.
He wasn't even good in college.
He wasn't great in Lubbock, and I don't know that it works in the National Football League. It worked under Sean McVay, but I think Sean McVay's got a little bit better. Honestly, he's got a higher football IQ. Cliff Kingsbury is great drawing up stuff in Lubbock, but it didn't translate to wins.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, Sean McVay, although young and is built to the same mindset, seems to translate with players a little bit better.
Yeah.
But only time will tell. But there's no way that they're not taking Kyler Murray. At least in my mind. I could be wrong, and we'll talk about it Friday after this first round is over. But, Logan, I really feel that they're going to take Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And they may try and keep Josh Rosen, which just is going to be an utter disaster. Number 2, our top 3 picks are the same. I will take Nick Bosa out of Ohio State, the defensive end, to go alongside D. Ford out there in the Bay. John Lynch loves this defensive guys.
Yeah.
If I were them, I would probably take Josh Allen. But I think they will take Nick Bosa at defensive end out of Ohio State at number 2. Number 3, for Jason Colicchio, they don't have to take a quarterback because they got one last year, unlike the other New York teams.
They could pull a Cardinals, though. What if they want a quarterback and they want both of them?
Why not? Just put them both out there. You don't know who's going to be throwing the football. So the New York Jets, I think, are taking Quinnen Williams as well. He's probably the best pure football player in this draft, but that doesn't always translate to being the number 1 overall pick. He's had a ton of success in Tuscaloosa. The defensive tackle will be a New York Jet. Number 4 at the Raiders. The second Buckeye drafted in the top 4 actually, Dwayne Haskins will be an Oakland Raider. I would not be shocked at all. As a matter of fact, I think this is going to happen. Reportedly, when they met, it was like John Gruden and Dwayne Haskins. It was like his old episode of Gruden's QB camp. They were just
like the one where you talked to Nathan Peterman?
Oh, yeah, well, Dwayne Haskins will be an interesting pick, but I really do think they're going to take a quarterback, and I think it'll be Dwayne Haskins.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Number 4.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I also
at all.
wouldn't be shocked if they trade up with San Francisco to get number 2 overall. And switch at 4. So number 5, Tampa Bay, Josh Allen, the outside linebacker out of Kentucky, had a ton of success in Lexington. His defense coordinator, Matt House, did a really good job developing him. The only other offer he had was University of Buffalo. So he did a lot of work in Kentucky, and now he's going to be a top 5 NFL pick. So I go Kyler Murray to the Cardinals, Nick Bosa to the 49ers, Quinnen Williams to the Jets at number 3, Dwayne Haskins at Oakland at 4, and Josh Allen Tampa Bay at 5. So that is our projected top 5 picks. So only time will tell tomorrow. The wait is really over. A lot of people are excited about this draft. They've really done an incredible job of marketing it into, one of the biggest events of the offseason, which is remarkable because it's just people getting their name called, and some fans love it. But it is like a 4-hour process of round 1.
Yeah, and past round 1, I don't think the viewership is as intense. But you're right; this is like a week-long kind of event. Like, it is very prominent, and that's just the NFL has done that forever. That's why they're the only football league that'll ever succeed in the United States. They control the market the entire time, all year long. It's NFL, and college football has its place, but obviously it's not professional football. But yeah, it is. It's a big deal. Don't really know why some of these guys turn out. Maybe. Do you think it's because there's a chance? Obviously, there's a chance if your team takes the guy, like, you're going to be set up for a Super Bowl. But do you think there's people that watch it to see who, like, if other teams mess up?
Oh, yeah. People are definitely looking at the Oakland Raiders thinking that. But you have to look at, some people, this is all they have to live for. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're picking up here routinely. So this is all they pretty much have to look forward to. So it'll be interesting to see a team that's always drafted well. The Pittsburgh Steelers give their quarterback a 2-year extension, 1 year left on his deal, gets 2 more years. Ben Roethlisberger does, so he will be in Pittsburgh throughout 2021, the last killer bee left of the Steelers. So he got 3 more years left in Pittsburgh. I don't know that he has 3 years left in him, but Mason Rudolph can't be too pleased looking at this deal.
No. Well, he shouldn't have been pleased looking at the roster last year because he wasn't even QB2.
No, yeah, Josh Dobbs was quarterback too, but Ben Roethlisberger does get another deal. Josh Gordon signed a tender with the Patriots, so if he is reinstated, he will for sure be a New England Patriot. I didn't think that was much of a story. The Patriots were just kind of protecting their own interest. I
agree. Do you think he will ever get reinstated and play a game for them?
No,
I don't either.
I think he's made far too many mistakes, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So,
sadly, I agree. I think he's too far gone. He's not going to play in the NFL anymore.
The odds are dipping apparently on Kyler Murray going number 1 overall, but
so
apparently a lot of people think to 2 probably.
Yeah.
Chris Harris Jr., your Pro Bowl defensive back for the Broncos, he wants a trade.
New deal or a trade.
Yeah.
I really hope they get that worked out. I really don't want to see him go. He was really good for us last year. He's been good for 9 years. 9 years. 9 years. Yeah, man. He wasn't even drafted. He's earned his money in Denver at this point. Really hope John Elway doesn't mess this up like he's kind of.
John Elway's never messed anything up, Logan.
For you, Reed.
He's messed a lot of stuff up for me. What are you talking about?
Sorry. I meant like as an organization. Lately, he hasn't done anything that upsets you. You know what I mean? As a Chiefs fan.
I mean, he did win a Super Bowl not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't know if he really did that, but I guess he was GM.
Well, it looks like we're in the same deja vu here. Marshawn Lynch is retiring. 2 years retired, played 2 years in Oakland, really did not have much success at all. Looks like he's going to ride off into the sunset, retiring. 33 years old. Will be known for being beast mode, the run that caused an earthquake, and also not being given the football in the Super Bowl to win the game. So, but Marshawn Lynch looks like he's out in Oakland. Did not have a ton of success in Oakland, but he is officially retiring again. So
that's good. It was a struggle watching him play this last year. It was kind of like Gronk. It was like, man, it's over.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. He just simply did not have it like he did in Seattle. So we're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about everything going on in Oklahoma State athletics. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They're also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back into one-on-one right there. You see the big sweep over the Texas Longhorns to move the Cowboys atop the Big 12 Conference. Only a few series left here. They still have to take a trip out to Oregon to take on defending national champion and number 2 team in the country, Oregon State, here in, I believe, next week. But the Cowboys had to cancel their game against Oral Roberts, and it's beginning to become apparent that they should just
not play Oral Roberts.
Not play, because it seems like every time they try and play a baseball game, it gets rained out.
Well, they'll get another chance in, 6 days?
Yeah, if that one gets rained out,
never schedule them again.
Never schedule them again. But that one was canceled. They're obviously don't have enough time to reschedule it.
Yeah.
They are going to be down in Lubbock on Friday to resume Big 12 play. So as you mentioned, they have that game next week in Tulsa against Oral Roberts. Then they go out to Oregon State, follow the series in a Tulsa, OKC, Norman 3-game series versus OU, and then Baylor. The final 3 games. It'll be difficult to get I don't think they can sweep Texas Tech, but quite honestly, I didn't know that they would sweep Texas.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do against the Red Raiders this weekend. But again, game canceled yesterday, but taking on Texas Tech in Lubbock on Saturday. Pitches at 6:30, 7:30 Saturday game, and a 2 p.m. finale of that series. The Cowgirls host North Texas tonight. They're also playing the Red Raiders this weekend. We know they have struggled at points this season with their midweek games, especially against teams from Texas, but I think they should be able to get the job done. They have to win this game, and they have to sweep Texas Tech and at least get a win against OU if they want to host a regional.
Yeah, and I think they can do all that. They've been playing so well lately, Reed. I'm trying to see. They haven't scored less than 5 runs since that loss to UT Arlington back at the beginning of April 3rd. They've been playing really, really well. I think they have a chance to sweep Texas Tech. And I think they have a chance to win 2. I think they can win 2. You have 2 games in Stillwater against OU. And I know OU is one of the top-tier best softball programs.
Number 1 in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to be easy, but they play so well at home. They've taken such a big step this season. I think they're going to be, hosting a regional. I think they're going to make a lot of noise. I don't know if they're going to make it to the World Series, but I think they have a really good shot to be a really good team in the postseason.
Yeah, at times they've kind of scared you because they can go basically really cold at the plate.
That hasn't happened in
a while.
Over a month.
Yeah, but they have a ton of confidence. They had a ton of confidence coming into this season. I think Coach Gajewski has to be really pleased with where they're at so far.
Yeah.
Obviously hitting basically bomb after bomb
Yeah.
They were going to set a home run record. They set it last year. I don't know if they have surpassed it yet, but they're more than likely going to surpass it this year.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Texas Tech had a lot of hype early on in the season. They're still a really good team, Logan. They're 35-9.
Yeah.
So they've had plenty of success. They got swept by OU. They haven't had a ton of success in the Big 12. Lost 5-1, 8-3, and 13-1 to OU. Then they won the series versus Iowa State, won 2 out of 3, lost 2 out of 3 versus Texas, as we know. Oklahoma State won 2 out of 3 against the Longhorns, and then they swept Baylor, much as the Cowgirls did, and then won 2 out of 3 versus Kansas. So this will be an interesting series of Oklahoma State's strengths. It is in Stillwater. That's got to help a little bit because Texas Tech is far better at home than they are on the road. 14-6. Well, they've only played 8 away games, so they are 16-1 in neutral site games, which I guess you can chalk up to being away games as well. But OU still atop the conference. They are 12-0. Oklahoma State 10-2, followed by Texas 7-6. Texas Tech 8-7, and you have some not very good teams in Iowa State's 4-8, Kansas 3-9, and Baylor 2-14. So the Cowgirls have to get a sweep of Texas Tech, and they would have to win 2 out of 3 versus OU, which will be very difficult to do. But I don't think there's any shame in taking second place because ultimately
don't put up a billboard.
Yeah, no, Darren Ravel wouldn't be happy about that. And ultimately, you can't be no disrespect to winning conference championships because they're important.
Yeah.
No one has winning a Big 12 championship ahead of going to Oklahoma City to the College World Series.
Right.
And that, I think Oklahoma State has very good potential to do that. So we're going to take a 47-hour break. We will be back for the final show on Friday. Have Barrett guests on to talk a little bit of hockey, go over the NFL draft, and maybe get into our favorite moments from the show before we call a quiz for the summer. But we'll be back next year, and we'll be back on Friday. Thank you for watching One on One. We'll see you then.